ESPN recently came out with their top 100 professional athletes since 2000. And the criteria for this list was that voters were instructed to consider only an athlete's performance since 2000. Henceforth, Barry Bonds, some of his MVPs came after 2000, Ken Griffey, and other notable players like Tiger Woods. So their criteria was basically how their impact was in the 21st century. And I'm gonna read off the top 26 of this list. Starting at number 1, we got Michael Phelps. Number 2, Serena Williams. Number 3, we got Lionel Messi. Number 4, we got LeBron James. Number 5, Tom Brady. Number 6, we got Roger Federer. Number 7, we got Simone Biles. Number 8, we got Tiger Woods. Number 9, we got Usain Bolt. Number 10, we got Kobe Bryant. Number 11, we got Novak Djokovic. Number 12, we got Rafael Nadal. Number 13, we got Cristiano Ronaldo. Number 14, we got Stephen Curry. Number 15, we got Katie Ledecky. Number 16, we got Tim Duncan. Number 17, we got Shaquille O'Neal. Number 18, we got Patrick Mahomes. Number 19, we got Lewis Hamilton. Number 20, we got Aaron Donald. Number 21, we got Diana Taurasi. Number 22, we got Sidney Crosby. Number 23, we got Kevin Garnett. Number 24, we got Albert Pujols. Number 25, we got Floyd Mayweather. And at number 26, we got Peyton Manning. For this top 25 list, there's a lot of names that you could say should have been on this list that weren't. There's a lot of names that were left off this top 100 list completely. Caleb, how do you feel about this top 100 list, mainly about this top 25? And do you think, A, most of these folks shouldn't have been on here, and B, that this list should be completely, and there should be more or different names in there?
Well, what I feel about the list is that I don't think, the list isn't good.
Say in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
But usually these main articles, like these main sites, they will like try to make these type of lists. So like Rolling Stone, they made the top 100 albums of all time list. So usually like these main networks, they'll make these like type of lists to kind of get the people talking, and by get the people talking, I mean get some clout. So I'm struggling to find a criteria on the thing. They have like a lot of NBA players, but then you got like 2 swimming guys, and then you got like 3 skiing guys, like 4 racing guys. So like it's not really equal in my opinion. Now there's a lot of polar bears on this list. Trust me, there's a lot of polar bears in Arlington, Texas on this list. Diana Taurasi at 21 is insane. I think she was over Barry Bonds and Floyd Mayweather. It was kind of crazy. Over many other legends too. My big problem with it is that I believe if you're gonna make a top 15 about athletes of this century, or a top 100 list about athletes this century, I think the top 15 should be people that you can argue as the GOATs in their respective sport. When I look at that, I look at a Phelps, I look at a Messi, I look at Serena, I look at Floyd, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is the GOAT in this sport. If you really want to look at it like that, taking out the steroid stuff. Yeah, you look at LeBron, you look at Brady. I actually don't think Federer is the best tennis player. I think it's the Djokovic. But I can kind of understand that, those tennis guys, like between them two and Nadal, it's like a toss up. So you can really like just throw whichever name out. But you're also looking at guys like Ronaldo, who can be argued as like not necessarily the GOAT, but people that you can make an argument for. So you look at Ronaldo, you look at Crosby, you look at the athletes like that. I thought Simone Biles was way too high. You're looking at athletes like that. I forgot Tiger Woods too. I forgot to mention him, but yeah, he's in that first tier in my opinion. So that's my big problem with this list, because I saw Kobe Bryant at 10, and I love Kobe, but you can't really argue him as a GOAT in the sport. Like nobody makes that argument anymore. So that was my big thing with the list. It wasn't really on the athlete that they put in there, because there was a lot of polar bears. And I knew they was gonna put a lot of polar bears in here. I don't know if the person's in Arlington, like the little dude that made the list, or the collective of people, because no way you've watched all these sports. No way you had no time in your life to watch 15 sports all in depth and realizing who's the greatest in the sport. I think the list is bad. It's not historically bad, but it's bad. If you're gonna make a list like this, make the criteria more detailed and focused. I feel like there was no focus in the criteria, and there was a lot of bias. like between other sports. Like there was like 2 boxing dudes, and you have like 15 NBA players. Like, you know, you have Chris Paul on a list, and the only boxing guys I saw was really Pacquiao and Floyd, and there was another guy. That's just kind of crazy in my opinion.
When you look at this list, the voters should be more in depth. That's just too obvious that, of course, you're going off of it's what they did in 2000s. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I think there should be more to it. There should factor in accolades or however they're listed or ranked in their respective sport as of how great they are. If you go off of just what they did in 2000s, Barry Bonds only won 4 MVPs in the 21st century. You still telling me that's not enough to make it to the top 25 to be over Diana Taurasi or Maya Moore? And I mean, Tiger Woods, bro, Tiger Woods been killing in the 21st century too. The criteria is pretty dumb. This list can be tweaked. There was a lot of NBA love in this list, and I'm definitely intrigued as to how these voters went about this process, because like you were saying, there's no way that they could possibly have seen all these respective sports and went into a full detail of what made them want to put who at which spot. So Malachi, how do you feel about this list?
I agree with pretty much what you guys said. I'm gonna take a little bit of a different stance. I think that this list was terrible. ESPN, they are known for not being objective in terms of just their day-to-day commentary. So I knew that this list was going to be riddled with agendas. I think that we need to get away from these top 100 lists. Any list that's top 100 is going to be bad. Can we just stick to like 10 or 25? And I think that it was a mistake to take into account all sports, not just like looking at North America, because when you broaden the landscape, you're going to leave a lot of people out. You need to take the top 20 to 25, do account of how many sports you're including. If you're including 20 sports, you need to have at least one person in each of those sports in the top 20. If we're going to be fair, all these NBA guys, like the criteria, once again, makes no sense to me. It's the same problem I had with the Ringers list. This criteria, this loosey-goosey, laissez-faire, artsy-fartsy criteria, it is just giving them wiggle room to put out bullshit. I'm really just tired of it. You have a guy in Floyd Mayweather who is #1 boxer, but he's at 25. But you got Kevin Garnett over Floyd Mayweather. Are we fucking serious?
Kevin Garnett isn't even the best player in his position.
Yeah, you got Tim Duncan ahead of him, but Kevin Garnett is on the list, second power forward. We're not even talking about the best player in the sport. We're talking about in a position. He's over Floyd Mayweather. So people need to provide me with the credence to how that can be the case. There are a lot of people that are with their accomplishments are fugazi, like their accomplishments, which is what people are saying that the criteria is based off of, makes no sense. You have a Randy Moss, he's number 27. Part of his key accomplishments are the terminology, the phraseology of milestone. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? Where's Terrell Owens? Terrell Owens is not on this list. Like, I'm not really understanding that aspect of it. I think the top 10 is pretty accurate, except for them not including Floyd Mayweather. It's pretty accurate. I would just, rearrange the order. That is like the benchmark of a good list. If the list at least gets the names right, the order can be, messed up or whatever. But if you can get the names right in the list, get the top 10 right. 100 names is a lot of names, but can we get the top 10 right? And why do we have 70,000 voters? Why?
That's kind of crazy. That's a lot of mixed opinions, because how would you even come up with a list? That seems like with 70,000 voters, that would take a long time, because that's a lot of different mixed opinions.
I have a hard time believing. I'm 99.94% positive that 70,000 people aren't watching 25 sports or how many sports they included. I doubt it.
And going off of what you were saying about Floyd Mayweather, I mean, this dude basically changed boxing when it comes to making money. All these boxers, they come to him on how to make money, how to promote themselves.
Not even just boxers.
I mean,
not even just boxers, also athletes like LeBron and those guys. Floyd Mayweather has interviews talking about how those guys called him up and were trying to figure out how to make more money off the court, be more profitable. Because one thing I will say is, at first I wasn't going to bring up the money, because like I have Floyd very, very high if I was making this list on my own. But I wasn't going to bring up the money because that doesn't have anything to do with your accomplishments. I thought this list was about your accomplishments. But when I saw that Randy Moss bullshit about the phrase milestone, it's clearly not about on the court or on the field. It's clearly about off the court stuff too. So if that's the case, Floyd needs to be #1, because based off of what you've done athletically, he has the accomplishments. 50-0.
he's also made the most money
Right.
from any athlete in both decades, the 2010s and the 2000s. So the fact that he's 25, he has 5 world titles in 5 different weight classes. The fact that he's 25 and Pacquiao are the only 2 boxers on this list doesn't make any sense to me. But I think you have like 3 skiing guys and 3 snowboarding guys, which I'm good with. I'm good with that because I think that all sports need to be shown the equal amount of love. But you got like 10 to 15 NBA guys in the top 100 and all these NFL guys. And I saw baseball guys, they didn't get a lot of love in the top 20, but like from 20 to 30, they're getting like back to back to back. It's not making any sense to me. Then you have these guys that I think are great, Patrick Mahomes and the Nikola Jokic and like these guys are great, but they don't have longevity. I feel like there should be a benchmark in terms of how long you've been in your respective sport. 10 seasons. If you have 7 or 8, you don't have enough body of work. Your shelf life isn't long enough for us to put you in this class with these other great athletes. So I think that this list is bad once again because the criteria is bad. What's up with this broad ass criteria? They really didn't give us a criteria.
No, they just stated the obvious. But a couple
weak ass hook that they did in the beginning of it. Like, what are we talking about?
A couple of notable names. We have Barry Bonds. He was ranked 38th, which is wild. Kevin Durant ranked 39. Dirk Nowitzki ranked 41.
No, we know why they did that. They did that because of his jersey number, right? 41. Ranked 41. Wild. Stop it. Be original.
Chris Paul was ranked 83. One that was completely wild to me was Ed Reed being ranked 99. I mean, they didn't even throw in Troy Polamalu. I mean, those two were neck and neck as who's the greatest safety of all time. And you tell me both of them came make that list?
I feel the same way about the Terrell Owens and Randy Moss thing. Like, I think that one is even more blatant because at least you can probably say for Ed Reed being 99, let's say Troy Polamalu was like 101. Then you can say, well, he just barely missed it. But Randy Moss being 27 and Terrell Owens, to my knowledge, not being on the list at all, I don't really know how you defend that. Also, also with some other boxers, like you got Floyd and we got Pacquiao. What about like Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury? There should be a few more boxers on Canelo Alvarez now.
Yeah, I'm surprised Canelo didn't make this.
Boxing is a very athletic driven sport.
Third boxer they had was Bernard Hopkins.
I like that. There should have been some other guys. I think you could probably have do it like this: 20 sports, limited to 5 players per sport.
I like it.
I think that would have been fair. If you're not going to give us a valid criteria that we can verify with data, then you're just throwing shit out there. It just doesn't seem like a very intelligent system. You're just throwing shit out there. You have 70,000 voters, give each voter 20 categories, which are the sports, and give them 5 options per sport. They cannot go higher. They cannot go lower. Let's
talk about who should be at that number 1 spot. Who y'all got?
I mean, I still got Phelps. Honestly, I don't think we argue anybody except for Messi probably. So I still got Phelps pretty handily.
I think I would probably put Messi as my number 1.
Okay, I think I took a look at Michael Phelps' accolades. 28 gold medals, insane to me. So I do think that he is number 1. But like I said, we don't really know what this criteria is. If we're going to be bringing off things that I like to validate for my number 1, I'm going to go with Floyd just because of he does have the in the ring stuff. But we got to talk about impact. So impact, he is, and this is something that I think is a really, really good stat. The fact that he's made more money than anybody, any athlete. So I do think that Michael Phelps, if we're just talking strictly what you've done athletically, I think that he's clear cut number 1, but just because it seems like you guys have already given 2 different options, I'm gonna go with Floyd. That's a different option. I don't want to say what y'all said. So,
what should be the criteria for this top 100 list?
In my opinion, I think, like I said a little bit earlier, 2 things. I think that there needs to be a cap limit on how many sports we have and how many names per sport. So if we do 100, whether you want to do 25 sports, 4 names, or 20 sports, 5 names, there needs to be some type of capstone on it so we can be fair.
I think something that should also be considered or at least emphasized is that we're including their accolades as an athlete, but then we are also throwing in the things that they've done off the court and the generational movements they've done in their career off the court. I also think that the voters, there should be a restriction on who's the voters, and there shouldn't be no 70,000.
I think what they probably could do is all sports have like sports writers. So just take a certain amount of sport writers from each sport, and they can vote on that sport individually. You can just get a collective of people like a ESPN, get ESPN writers, just writers in general. Once they get those names, you got a different voting group that will vote on the order of those names. So I don't know if they did that. Maybe they did. I don't know. I don't think they did that, but I think that would be easy just so you can have some equality in terms of the different sports. Like you got 70,000 people voting, have 35,000 voters specific to the sport, and 35,000 people vote on the 100 names.
I think the top 10, there should be a slight rule change as to how you go about it. I think that top 10 should be like we were saying. It should be somebody that's considered the GOAT of their position. If you're in that top 10, you need to be in those talks or be talked as if you're the GOAT at your respective sport or whatever position you're in.
Or whoever in each sport was ranked number 1.
Right.
Like whoever had the most amount of people that dropped their name or whatever, they qualify to be in that top 10.
Cool.